as I understand it, government wants to make local communities take responsibility for decision taking to a new level, and that raises questions, of course, linked to it about capacity. By all means, I mean, if you're thinking of within a school, within a governing body, you've got people already who are giving of their time to really because they're committed to the well-being of their community and of seeing children flourish. So that's already happening. Now, if you take it to another level, it's, I suppose, a real sense of ownership, and with it responsibility. And I think it's still a kind of open, I think, an open question to what level local communities and groups are going to want to be taking on that kind of additional commitment.
It means to me about a group of people getting together to do something about their community instead of relying on the government. So, like, maybe getting more old homes for old people and play groups and stuff like that. So. I think it affects them. I think they should, because, well, we're the next generation really, so it's going to affect us in the future. So I think we should have a say.
I think it means a load of different opportunities for young people and for the wider society, more opportunities for volunteering, and I think it's just like a general bright light at the end of a dark tunnel when it comes to the recession and the new coalition government, really.
And I think that, like, if we're volunteers, because as like young volunteers, we need kind of support to be able to do our volunteering. So I think hopefully it will help us with our volunteering and give us more opportunities.
Yeah.
I think it gives us a great opportunity. For too many years, it's been a case of the authorities need to do something about this. And I think it's really time we got back to a point where communities used to help each other and help themselves. I would much rather have a question put to me, we've got a problem, how can the council help, rather than saying, what are you going to do about it? And really that will be the best outcome for the big society, and I think it will empower people. It's just going to take a little bit of time for people to adjust to that new way of thinking.
I think the importance for us is getting back to that state of community. I think one of the speakers has said tonight already that what we've done over time is we've allowed people to feel that an organisation will solve their problem, and we've added to that really. And I think what happens now, or what will happen, and our Chief Constable does it now around things like our value-based decision models, around community resolutions, is about saying to community members what's important for them, what do they want, what's their resolution. So rather than us saying to them before, this is the way it is, this is the law, this is our procedure, we're saying to people, what do you want to do? Now, I think what's happening is you'll have a generation of people who've never been asked that question before. So we need to help people through groups like Dorsey and through the community engagement working groups, and say, what training do you need to help make those decisions? Now, we've redesigned our PAC meeting process, which is the process that my Chief Superintendent wants people to influence our decision making around crime and safety. What we've asked the sergeants to do is get representatives from their communities to come and represent those communities. But to that person who's coming, what does representation mean? How do they represent their community? Because you're not taught that at school, you're not taught that, you know, anywhere really. I think we need to work with people and take people who are very good at it and use them as examples and say, this person is a good representative for these reasons, and buddy people up or give them some training or help people through that process. But we also need to help some of us as organisations to help our staff to understand what it's like to have people saying to us, this is the way we want to do things differently, and have that more empowered approach, because we've traditionally been there where we say to people, this is the way we're going to do things, and this, this is the way it's going to work. So that would be a change for us as well internally in terms of how we train and develop our staff.
For me, working for a charity, the stuff that I do in the community, working with community organisations, working with young people, organising activities, it's almost like all that on board. It's like the community working for themselves and doing stuff for themselves. We do a lot of work with volunteers, so it's volunteers getting involved. We also do a lot with peer mentors, so that we're training them up from young people to actually get involved. So as they get a bit older, they're used to that mentality of volunteering. It doesn't have to always be a paid job, but they feel like it's a sense of achievement. So they're actually giving back to their society and putting something into their society and giving back to their community. So for me, the big society is almost like an extension of that.
As being part of the public sector, I think for us it helps us to really review our services, look at whether our services are appropriate to their needs, and particularly we focus on supporting young people into entry into employment, training and education. So it's really looking at whether our services are meeting their needs, whether we're communicating with them in the right way, and give them an opportunity to look at the design of the service that we actually offer. So it really creates a vested interest from the local people as to how we deliver in their locality and how we can support in addressing their needs and their employability and training and education and needs also. So it really gives them a voice and shows that we're actually serious about sitting around the table with them and engaging them in some of those discussions.